One of the worst releases for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 has come out today. It's worse than Brendock, it's worse than Latin VFR, or it's worse than Captain Sim. And in fact, it comes from a household name that maybe people did not expect for it to happen, but Aerosoft. Now let's explore deeper into why this was such a flop. First, let's go ahead and reverse the clock. So let's go back to when Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 first released back in, I believe it was August of 2020. Let's just go back to then. So we had this beautiful sim, a never before done photogrammetry. It was very beautiful. Of course, we had all the default aircraft in it, but we never had a true add-on airliner. And the race was on to be the first airline added into the sim. Aerosoft, which I believe they didn't technically make this CRJ, I believe it was under a name, but it was their name on top of the third-party developer, so we'll call it the Aerosoft. CRJ was the first one to come out, and of course it came out, it had its quirks, has its bugs, but it was the first ever airplane to ever be on the sim, so of course we were excited for it. No matter how much bugs it had, we were super excited for it. And they were the first ever ones to release a plane. Flash forward, and here we are towards the end of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020's life, going into Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 in a couple of months, if not, I believe next month. They decided to release a plane that they said that they were going to delay. So for a while now, if you didn't already hear, I'm sure you've heard now, but the Aerosoft A330 was announced, I believe a couple years ago. Maybe even further back, but they wanted to spend their time on it. They wanted to do a full, they wanted to make sure that it was very in depth. In fact, they had a manual with a bunch of videos and other stuff like within it to help users understand the A330 and fly it realistically. So we were all very excited. It seems to be a very full fidelity aircraft. So they delayed it, I believe, a couple months ago. They delayed it and said, "Oh, we're going to hold off. We're going to wait until Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024," which is fine. Obviously, a lot of people were bummed, but I think a general consensus of the entire community would like to agree that it's better to hold off on a product and not release something that's early access and not fully featured. For example, that is the FSS Embraer 175, which I believe technically Aerosoft is associated with. I'm not 100% sure, but it's in early release. I have the plane. It's fun to fly. It's a nice different regional jet to fly, but obviously it doesn't have VNAV. It doesn't have certain capabilities, but they do constantly update it. FSS does a really good job of updating it, and I enjoy flying it. But something like this with the A330 with such a big household name like Aerosoft, it's very important that they release a good product. And it seems that that's hard to come by nowadays, especially Captain Sim. Captain Sim was another one that was super well known in P3D and FSX, but they released their 777 and their 767 and stuff like that, but they were just not what the community expected a household name like that would come out to be, and that's exactly what this A330 is. I speculated, and yesterday there was a bunch of rumors that they were going to be releasing it today, and honestly, I thought it was funny because I thought it was a joke, but apparently it wasn't a joke. I honestly think that it's just such a cash grab because they saw the A330, who's being developed by INI Build. So I think how this works, I'm not 100% sure. Asobo basically pays INI Builds like they did with the A300, how it's a freeware aircraft, or excuse me, the A310, how it's a freeware aircraft, but it's built by INI Builds. They saw that the A330 was coming out for 2024. And I think they were nervous. I think they were worried because INI did such a good job with the A310. I'm sure the A330 is going to be a really good plane. So they rushed the release. And to really emphasize how bad and how rushed of a release this is, you could look at so many other videos. I'm not buying it. I never got an early access to it, so I'm not even going to bother trying to buy it and show you guys how bad it is. There's plenty of other videos who actually flew the airplane that could show you how bad it is. But just something simple. I will show you guys something very, very simple of textures, of everything like that. How it was just very rushed. I think this is the biggest tell of how bad this is. Now, I'm sure you could already guess, but if you don't already know what I'm showing you without looking at the link or whatever, I want you to guess what plane this is, and I want you to guess what simulator it came from. And I think this release was just so out of left field because there was so much hype right now with the iFly 737 Max. We see that the toilet seat lifts up. You see that the lavatory door opens. You see that the baggage compartment opens. You see all the tray tables come down, the window shades slide down. Just the peak of an interior cabin, which I know it's kind of 50-50 the community. Some people like the detailed cabins. I'm one of those people. Other people could care less about a nice cabin. I get that. But I like an interior cabin. And to see how far Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 could take it, and iFly, I think, is doing an exceptional job. I think Phoenix was another one that did an exceptional job of really stretching the limits of what Microsoft 2020 could give us as far as interior cabins go. And this is the Aerosoft A330 in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. I mean, seriously, look at this. This is a Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 A330 cabin. This looks like it's coming from Roblox. And I was really curious to see, what did it look like in the PMDG? And here's an old Avcent post, like credit to Rodney Jacobs from 2006, or he joined in 2006. This is from 2011. This is the PMDG 737 NGX on FSX. And I saw this. Look at this cabin. This is from FSX in 2011. This is Microsoft Flight Simulator in 2024. It's crazy to see. And it's not just that. Let's go ahead and we'll look at this. Okay. So here's the webpage for it. And it's $30, which I'm glad it's $30. I mean, it should be free, but it would be even more outlandish if it was like a $50, $60 add-on. But let's just look down here, okay? So implementing the base pack, all this stuff, got online manual, all these features, all these liveries. Let's look at the not implemented in the base pack. Your NA loading and updating wins for their flight plan doesn't work, which is very strange because even free-ride planes like the fly-by-wire or Headwind or any of those like modders can do that, so they can't. Flight plan. You can't do an RNAV approach. Something that freeware planes you can do, you can't do an RNAV approach in the A330. The localizer approach, secondary flight plan, creating and changing a secondary flight plan, so you can't have you can't program a missed approach or anything like that. You have to go in. Overfly waypoints, definition of waypoints using the functional overfly. I don't know what the mode that is. Whatever, that's not added. Additional MCDU functions, step climb. With an A330-300 and a lot of long haul aircraft, they do step climbs because they're so heavy on takeoff. They can't cruise at the higher cruising altitudes to get the better fuel performance and the better performance. They have to cruise at a lower altitude when they take off, and then they eventually step up to a better and more efficient altitude. But you can't do step climbs in the MCDU. That's weird. Beam points, don't know exactly what that is, but the entry of ETOPS waypoints, that's what the A330 was made for. ETOPS was made for those long hauls, and you can't do that. Holdings, you can't do that. So check this off of your VATSIM list. You're not doing this on Cross the Pond. There's no way that you could even take this on a normal VATSIM flight. Never mind Cross the Pond. Never mind Cross the Pond. This is terrible. You can't even do holding points. You can't do a hold. All this stuff. I mean, just video cockpit door, display on terrain, and CP DLC. I mean, that's fine. Print all that stuff is just, that's extra. I get it if that wasn't in there, but the fact I can't do holds and RNAV approaches and stuff, it's just sad. And I've heard on Captain Canada's stream that they silenced the Discord. I don't know if they did or not, and they took off the reviews of this. I don't see where I could do a review. Not 100% sure if that's accurate either, but wow, this has been a failure, and they really dug Aerosoft into the dirt. And I think that they were just truly very, very, very just scared, I guess, of any builds, and they knew that their A330 cannot compare to any builds, so they were like, we just need to get the cash that we need, maybe? I don't know. But it's very disappointing that this airplane has been released by a household name like Aerosoft, and now Aerosoft has joined the graveyard of developers like Captain Sim and Latin VFR. I mean, Latin VFR, I guess, is like we're never really known for their aircraft, but I think Captain Sim and Aerosoft are the two for me that are the most surprising, but just because with their reputation with FSX and P3D has been so high, and now in Microsoft Flight Simulator, they just dug it to the ground. So this is very disappointing. This is very weird. I think everyone is just kind of weirded out in a way, and just kind of like, what the heck just happened? Because everyone was so focused on the iFly Max coming out soon because of all the streamers and stuff like that. But then out of nowhere, Aerosoft is just like, yeah, here's a 330 that's not even fully done, but whatever. We'll just put makeup on a pig and give it to you guys for $30. Very interesting, very terrible move by Aerosoft. I think it would have been better if they continued building it. Maybe look at the INI builds A330 and go from there. If you think you can make it better than INI 330, then continue the development. But if not, then I don't know. This was just not it. And it's very hard to see such a good developer back in the day, because I had the FSX A320 series. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. This is a very, very interesting move by Aerosoft. Let me know what you guys think down below, because this is weird, and I've been watching videos all morning of this, and everyone has the same opinion of just like W2TF. Like, this is a really weird drop by Aerosoft, and they really ruined their reputation, and it's a bad cash grab. So if anyone was considering buying it, I would suggest not. Wait for 2024. There's an A330 in there by INI Builds, who's a reputable developer. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's kind of different. I just had to get my rant out there about the Aerosoft A330. I would love to hear you guys' comments down below. Let me know what you guys think of the Aerosoft A330 coming out so soon. And we are streaming tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to be flying a WestJet 737 from Calgary to Edmonton. And it's going to be a Northern Lights event or something like that for VATSIM. So hopefully we'll have plenty of ATC between those two airports. So I hope see you guys then. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe. And let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about this Aerosoft release? Have a good one.